We tend to think of life in terms of stability, a steady heart rate, a constant body temperature, a fixed sense of self. But in reality, constancy is an illusion. Change is the true norm of life. From the smallest unicellular algae to the complex human brain, life moves to the steady beat of internal clocks and external calendars. Rhythms are the fundamental strands from which the entire web of life is spun. Think about it. Throughout every single 24-hour cycle on Earth, leaves adjust their physical orientation to the sky. Human core body temperature rises and falls in a predictable wave. Fungi time the release of their spores to the exact second, and activity levels across millions of species swell and recede. These aren't random reactions to the world. They are precise, inherited biological rhythms passed down through millions of generations. Every single variable of life you can measure, from the concentration of potassium ions moving across a microscopic cell membrane, to the complex stages of human sleep, to the opening and closing of water lilies, is governed by rhythmic timing. This rhythmic order isn't a modern discovery. Humans have recognized this temporal design for millennia. As the ancient book of Ecclesiastes famously recorded over 2,000 years ago, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. Why did evolution wire time so deeply into our biology? Because aligning with the geophysical cycles of our planet, the solar day, changing tides, and turning seasons is the ultimate key to survival. It gives organisms the power of predictability, the ability to prepare for environmental change before it even happens. While we often focus on our 24-hour daily routine, your physiology actually operates across three distinct rhythmic domains that run simultaneously inside your cells without ever colliding. 1. Ultradian rhythms. These are rapid, high-frequency cycles with periods shorter than 20 hours. In humans, these govern the 90-minute REM to deep sleep cycles during the night, as well as daytime focus waves and quick hormone pulses. 2. Circadian rhythms. Derived from the Latin circa about, and dies a day. These are the central 24-hour anchors that align your internal chemistry with Earth's rotation under usual light-dark conditions. 3. Infradian rhythms. These are long-wave, slow cycles with periods longer than 28 hours. Measured in days, weeks, months, or years, circannual, they dictate human reproductive cycles, seasonal metabolic shifts, animal hibernation, and bird migration. Together, these three domains form a web of biological oscillations, ensuring that every biochemical process occurs at the exact right microsecond. How does your body know what time it is? It relies on a process called solar entrainment. The moment morning light hits specialized photoreceptors in your eyes, an electrical signal flashes to your brain's master clock, the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or SCN. The SCN acts as the master conductor, sending signals to peripheral clocks in your liver, heart, gut, and pancreas. Throughout a typical 24-hour solar cycle, your body moves through a precisely synchronized biological wave. At 6 a.m., morning sunlight suppresses the sleep hormone melatonin while triggering a sharp spike in cortisol, known as the cortisol awakening response, boosting blood pressure and raising mental alertness for the day ahead. By midday around 12 p.m., your physiology reaches its metabolic zenith. Pancreatic beta cells hit peak insulin sensitivity, allowing liver clocks and digestive enzymes to clear blood, glucose, and process lipids with maximum efficiency. As 4 p.m. approaches, core body temperature reaches its daily peak, maximizing muscle strength, reaction speed, and cardiovascular flexibility for optimal physical performance. When darkness falls around 9 p.m., the brain's master clock signals the pineal gland to release melatonin, dropping your core temperature to prepare the body for rest. Finally, between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m., your system enters deep cellular restoration. core body temperature hits its lowest trough. Deep sleep opens the brain's glymphatic system to flush out toxic metabolic waste like amyloid beta proteins, and surges of growth hormone work to repair damaged tissue and maintain bone density. What happens if you completely strip away the outside world? No sunlight, no temperature fluctuations, no clocks, and no social cues. Does your internal biological rhythm collapse? To find out, chronobiologists sealed volunteers in subterranean bunkers and deep cave systems for weeks on end. The result? Rhythms didn't vanish. Instead, they transitioned into a self-sustained state called a free-running rhythm. Because the intrinsic human free-running period is genetically programmed slightly longer than a solar day, averaging 24.2 hours, subjects began drifting 12 to 30 minutes later every single day relative to the outside world. Without morning sunlight to reset the suprachiasmatic nucleus, SCN, the morning cortisol surge and nighttime melatonin onset rolled forward continuously. Core body temperature maintained its wave, but its timing completely uncoupled from real-world solar time. Over extended periods of isolation, different internal organs drifted at different rates. Heart rate variations, growth hormone surges, and kidney filtration cycles separated and began oscillating completely out of phase with one another. This provided two landmark biological proofs. Human physiology is actively driven by an internal genetic clock, and these clocks feature temperature compensation, meaning they keep accurate time regardless of whether ambient temperatures are warm or cold. Isolation in a cave is a controlled experiment. But what happens when you force your internal biological clocks to collide with the modern world? Welcome to circadian desynchronization. Consider the lifestyle of long-term rotating night shift workers, nurses, emergency responders, factory operators, or even individuals living with extreme social jet lag. They are forced to work and eat during their subjective biological night and attempt to sleep during their subjective biological day. When you eat a heavy meal at 2 a.m. under bright fluorescent lights, your master clock in the brain is signaling nighttime, but the peripheral clocks in your liver, stomach, and pancreas are forced into daytime metabolic mode. Because pancreatic beta cells are biologically dormant at night, late-night eating causes severe blood glucose spikes and blunted insulin sensitivity. Simultaneously, nighttime sympathetic nerve activity stays elevated, preventing the natural 10 to 20% nocturnal drop in blood pressure and placing continuous, unrelenting strain on your heart and vascular walls. When circadian alignment breaks down, your body doesn't collapse immediately. It moves through a progressive three-stage pathological continuum. Stage 1. Allochronism. This is the early, silent phase. Central and peripheral clocks drift out of alignment, but internal compensatory mechanisms mask the damage. Your timing parameters vary from standard norms, yet you show no overt clinical symptoms. Stage 2. Dyschronism. When misalignment persists for months or years, compensatory pathways exhaust themselves. Allochronism degrades into dyschronism, a state characterized by persistent clinical symptoms like chronic fatigue, insomnia, mood disruption, and constant gastrointestinal distress. Stage 3. Systemic disease. Decades of internal friction, where metabolic processing occurs out of phase with cellular DNA repair and anti-inflammatory pathways, culminates in overt disease. Type 2 diabetes, central obesity, hypertension, arrhythmias, gastrointestinal disorders, and elevated long-term cardiometabolic risk. In modern society, we systematically strip our body of its natural environmental timekeepers, or Zeitgebers. Key behaviors that cause circadian breakdown. Late-night blue light exposure. Using smartphones or TVs within 2 hours of bed, suppressing pineal melatonin synthesis. Social jet lag. Shifting weekend sleep and wake times by several hours relative to weekdays. Nocturnal feeding. eating heavy meals late at night when metabolic organs are in sleep mode. Dim days and bright nights. Spending mornings indoors under dim artificial lights, then flooding your eyes with bright screens past 9 p.m. Late caffeine and alcohol. Consuming caffeine late in the afternoon or drinking alcohol near bedtime, disrupting deep, slow-wave sleep architecture. The circadian resynchronization protocol. 1. Morning sunlight, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Step outside for 10 to 30 minutes of natural light within an hour of waking to reset the SCN, trigger your cortisol awakening response, and start the timer for evening melatonin release. 2. Align meal windows, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Eat your largest carbohydrate-rich meals during daytime hours, when insulin sensitivity is highest, and finish dinner at least 2 to 3 hours before bed. 3. Time exercise wisely, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Schedule intense strength or cardio training during morning or early afternoon when core body temperature and strength peak, finishing by 7 p.m. to allow temperature cooling before sleep. 4. Protect the dark, 8 p.m. onward. Dim indoor lights, eliminate blue light screens 1 to 2 hours before bed, and cool your bedroom to roughly 65 degrees Fahrenheit, 18 degrees Celsius, to support the natural thermal dip required for restorative sleep. Your body is not a machine designed to perform any task at any hour of the day or night. It is a finely tuned, anticipatory biological system tied directly to the light of the sun. When you honor your biological clocks by seeking morning light, nourishing your body during daylight, and protecting your nights, your organ systems operate in effortless harmony. Respect your internal clock, because fighting time is a battle your physiology will eventually lose. If you found this deep dive into biological rhythms valuable, like, subscribe, and share this video. Stay synchronized.